Hi everyone, this is a gentle reminder to all of you guys, whoever is willing to become an animator, no matter where you are learning from. It's very important for you to understand this. Don't cut out corners while you are doing animation. Don't skip things while you are doing animation just because adding that details will take some more time or will consume more of your efforts. Don't think of skipping that thing. This is very common among beginners, and I understand that as a beginner, we try to cut corners because I used to do the same when I was a beginner. But understand this, you're not going to grow as an animator until you don't add details, until you don't put minor details which you might even see while you are actually performing the thing. But you will have to add those things in your animation just to make the animation more beautiful and beautify the things and add more and more details. Again, there has to be some context why that thing is animating, but try to do it, try to add more details so that your animation goes next level. Even if it's a foot thing, even if you are lifting the foot or you are avoiding it, that also can make a lot of big change or a big difference. And generally what I see, that the students or the freshers or the beginners or the also the artists who are having 1 or 2 years of experience, they try to avoid this. Now there are few reasons for that. First reason is the deadline. Yes, I understand, because of the deadline we don't want to do few things and we want to just make it normal and just send it to the client so that we are happy now and we can go home and we don't need to stay in the studio for a long time. But think of this also, if your goal is to become an animator in some international level studios, then you need to be very creative in terms of adding these details, because if you don't add up, you will never know that how these details are going to help you or will bring your shot to the next level. You will only understand that once you implement those things. And also, you need a mentor who can actually tell you that these are the things you need to add, these are the details you need to add, and make sure you put your efforts on that. I guarantee you, when you do that, it's going to satisfy you so much. You will love your animation shot. And the second thing, which I mentioned, that the reason for not doing this is because of the confusion of timeline. I understand that as well. As a aspiring student, it's very difficult to get into the timeline thing. Once we have a lot of keys, it's become very difficult to understand which key is for what pose. And literally, if I share my experience, what I used to do when I was a beginner, I used to literally write it down on my book. I used to have a book and I used to write it down that frame number 2 is this pose, frame number 3 is this pose. And shifting the keys would actually make me feel sick, that what happened and what do I do now and how do I refine it if something goes wrong. So this is normal, but as I am having the experience now, being in the industry for so long, and I've understood, I've learned, I've experienced from my mentors, from my supervisors and team leaders, I have seen how they do the work. And this is something which I learned very late in my career, that we don't have to focus on the timeline. The problem is we are focusing on timeline, because of which we are not able to actually do it or actually get confused with how these things are. Okay, this key is here. If some key is just next to that, then we get confused that how this animation is working out on two keys which are just close to each other. There has to be some spacing. So a lot of different things are there which goes in our mind. So you need to be very sure that you will only focus on the viewport. It happened once that the day when I understood was one of my team leader actually came in. I was not able to do the shot, and he came in to my desk and he took my shot and he just deleted the keys and made the poses. And while I was observing him, how he is actually doing the shot or refining the things which I'm not able to do, I understood that his focus was completely on the viewport. He was only looking on viewport and just deleting the keys which are not required, which is not serving the animation purpose. And because of that, it was actually coming out really well. And later on, when I implemented the same thing gradually, I also figured out that my animation is actually going to the next level and I am focusing more on the details rather than the timeline. So make sure that you are also following this. Please don't cut out corners while doing animation. If you truly want to become a great animator, that is the only way. If you are watching Disney and Pixar films, you might be knowing that how many details they add. How do they add it? Because they have the context, because they know why they need to add that detail. And you also might be knowing but you might not be implementing it just because it's taking more time. So when you are in studio, if the deadline is there, okay, try to make it out. If you are still not able to, then you can avoid, but try you add as many details as possible so that your shot can go to next level. Again, it's a positive sign, right? That you are actually able to make it, that you are actually able to do the thing whatever you are doing in that particular time. Imagine if it takes 2 days and because of the deadline you are able to do it in 1 day. Isn't that a good sign for you that you have become more productive, you have become more skilled, and you have become more talented in terms of thinking and implementing things? So it's everything positive for you. It's just that you need to put some efforts. That's what I can say, because I also had put a lot of efforts while I was doing animation, and that is how I improved on my animation skills. So yes, that's what I wanted to share for all of you guys, whoever are there. And anyways, I will be looking forward to see all of you in the mentorship. If you are the one who are watching this video for the first time, then make sure that if you haven't filled your application, if you are someone who is struggling in the animation journey, if you're not getting a job even after doing your big animation courses, and if you're thinking that you're going to figure out everything on your own, let me tell you, it's not going to happen. And this is the reason I'm doing sponsored mentorship. That means I'm going to sponsor you in the mentorship, which you don't need to pay anything. And for a limited time, I will be actually teaching you and sharing you the things which are the industry perspective animation knowledge, which will help you improve your animation to a far extent. And that's completely without any investment. So make sure if you haven't filled the application, you click on the link. If you are watching it on Instagram, make sure you are seeing my story wherein I have put the link to the Google form. And if you're watching me on any of the other social media platform, please read the context of this post. You will find the link, fill the application, and we will look into your application if you're selected for this sponsored mentorship. So thank you so much for supporting me and loving my content. And I will see you, all of you, in some other video with some other form of content and knowledge about animation. Take care and God bless.